Section 3.4 is called piecewise functions. And this assignment is very short. It has two problems, but it has multiple parts in each question. And we're going to understand what piecewise functions are and how do we define them. So as you can see with the problems, piecewise functions, they don't have one set rule for all the x values you have given. They just change their behaviors depending on the x value they have the definition of. For example, this function f of x on the first problem, if you have a small number than a zero, if you have an x value less than a zero, which means if you have some negative x values, it's gonna give you the x squared as an output. Whatever you have your x value, you have to square it and then you will find your output. If you have a zero as the x value, it's a set y value -3. The y value will be always a -3. If you have positive x values, then it starts behaving like a linear function, and then the rule becomes 2x plus 1. So depending on what we are evaluating for, we're going to check which rule we're going to apply for the given x value, and then we will find the output. So the first question is f of -2. So when I look at f of -2, -2 is a number less than a 0. So it's a negative number. So for -2, the rule I need to use is x squared. So x value is in this case -2. So I just need to square this number, and then I just get 4 for this one. Now I need to find f of 0. So whenever x value is equal to 0, the function is telling me that my output is always a 3, -3. So I'm just going to put a -3 for the answer for f of 0. The last part is f of 4. So 4 is a number which is greater than a 0. So we need to use the last rule now because 4 falls under the category of x is greater than a 0. So the rule we need to use is 2x plus 1. So I need to do 2 times 4 plus 1. And that gives me a 9. And this is how we answer these questions for number 1. Number 2 is very similar, but instead of having 3 different rules, this question has only two rules that it uses. And then the intervals are, if we have any x value that they are between -5 and +4, the rule is 5x minus 4. If I have any x value which is less than 4, but if I have any x value greater than 4 but less than 6, I need to use this rule, x cubed minus 4. So the first question is f of 0. So I need to decide if 0 falls under the category of this or this. So when I look at 0, 0 is between -5 and +4. So for 0, I need to use the 5x minus 4 rule. So since I need to use 5x minus 4 rule, and instead of x, I need to plug in a 0. So the expected answer for the first one becomes -4. For the next question, it is f of 1. So x value is 1. So I need to decide if 1 falls under the first category or the second category. As you can see, 1 is a number between -5 and 4. Even 1 uses the top rule. So 5x minus 4 is still the rule that we're going to use. But instead of x, we're going to use just 1 this time. And then that's 5. 5 minus 4 is 1. So the y value becomes 1 for this. For f of 4 now, the first rule is on until x is a 4 or less than 4. So even when x is 4, I still need to use the top rule. So 4 still uses the top rule. So 5 times 4 minus 4, that's 20 minus 4, and that's a 16. That's the answer I need for this question. The last one is f of 6. Now, finally, for 6, the bottom rule applies if we have any x value like 5 or 6. 5 or 6, they're going to use x cubed minus 4. So I need to use this bottom rule now. Instead of x, I need to plug in a 6. So I need 6 to the third power minus 4. And 6 to the third power is 216. And when I minus 4 from this, I'll get 212. And this is how we evaluate piecewise functions for section 3.4.